Alright, this video is going to show you how to do stamps. So we created our variety of styles of stamps. There's a cone, and to make this effective, there should be a separation between positive and negative space, enough that whenever it is bisque fired and you press it, you can see a good indentation. Your signature stamp should be the reflection of your initials, so that when you press it, it is the correct direction. Then a pattern stamp is something that you can repeat to create a pattern. And you can also have small stamps that are just textural to create something. This one would be more of a pattern. But again, it looks like it's bold, but you still have to press pretty hard to even get that to transfer, because there's not enough separation on the sides between the positive and negative space. This stamp here has a radial design, and it's pretty effective because it has a curvature for that cone where it angles out. So to make these stamps, you can start with a pencil, and you can press down if you want the negative space to be tucked away. You can also use the detail carving tool, which has this hook end, and you can scrape and dig away the clay. You can use your metal ribbon tool to cut off pieces and shave it away. We also have a wooden modeling tool that you can use to press in there, kind of like a finger. But your pencil is one of your best tools that you can use. When your clay is leather hard, it's easier for you to do designs into. Remember, with your disc, we're doing a repeated design on the small side that you would roll out. So you can do it lightly to start with, and then you can go back in and make it deeper, so that if you don't like the way it looks, you just wipe it away and start over. So this would go all the way around, trying to make it as consistent and even as possible. If the clay is still pretty sticky, the clay will fall back when you dig in, and so you may have to go back and forth to get those little shavings out, because you want it to be as clean as possible to have an effective transfer when you use it as a stamp. Right now this clay is pretty plastic, but as it gets leather hard, it's easier to carve and remove some of that clay in a clean way. If I wanted to, with this design, use my sketchbook, and I have Zentangle ideas and other designs that I'm thinking about. Say I want to create this one, and I could do it in the cube, or I could change it to something else. But if I did it in the cube, I could lightly draw with my pencil and alter the design even if it's not working as I originally intended. And this clay is still pretty soft, so it's harder to flake that away. But if I started with this, and then I had these circles that I wanted to add in, perhaps, then I've got choices to either dig these indentations in deeper, or I could try to press down and remove the clay so that my design projects up. So my design becomes a positive space, and then the background becomes negative. It's harder to do this, more time consuming, but you'll have a cleaner stamp in the end. So that'll take a little while. I'll have to do a time lapse on that one, going back to it. But if I wanted to have a radial design out of this one, I could use my pencil to go around and create something that spirals, and that has a clean separation between positive and negative. In between this, I could do a dot as well. Ideally, you're using ideas, oops, I don't like that. Ideally, you're using ideas that you generated from your sketches, but you can also alter and create in your stamps themselves too. So I can revisit this, come back and clean it up in a little bit. You want to make sure that it's kind of even. On the small side, I could come up with a little design as well. Maybe if my name was with a T, I can make it like that. If I don't like it, smooth it out. Maybe I have a spiral that I make with this. And all those little shavings have to be taken off and smoothed out. And this has to have a deep, clean line to be an effective stamp. Otherwise, it won't work as well. So you have to kind of go back and forth to get all those little shavings out of this to make it clean. You can push the clay back. So I would continue to work with this. I could even take water and smooth over it. I can take that detail carving tool and try to pick some of that clay out of the inside, because you don't want any of that left in there. To make sure that you get your stamp back, you want to make sure that you put initials or your name, something, and then your class period. I'm going to put a 2 for this one. And that makes it easier to ensure that we know whose class that stamp belongs to. That's it in a nutshell.